Gananam tva ganapatigam havamahe kavim kavinamupamashyavastamam Jyeshtarajam brahmanam brahmanaspata anashrunvannotibhis sidasadanam Shri Mahaganadhipataye namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om. Dear friends, we completed this 9th chapter in the last class. That is, 9th chapter is that Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga. We completed in the last class, and we had a review of that 9th chapter also, say fairly comprehensively. Then that Raja Vidya, in that chapter, as the very name indicated, that is the king of all learnings. The king of all learnings is the knowledge of the Supreme Brahman. So that is what was told in that chapter. And this chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti Yoga. We know that every chapter here is called Yoga. This chapter again it is called Vibhuti Yoga. What is the meaning of Vibhuti? The most common meaning of Vibhuti is when you go to a Shiva temple, you get some ash colored powder. So that is the Vibhuti, isn't it? Vibhuti is that which is taken out from that Homa Kundam. When you perform some yajna, you do that Purnahuti and all those things, and then after that Purnahuti is over, you take out that all that ash from that thing, and then that is supposed to be the sacred ash, and then that is say put on the forehead. So that is supposed to be the Vibhuti. That is the meaning of Vibhuti, the ordinary man's meaning of Vibhuti. But here the meaning is Vibhuti is Visheshena Bhavati iti Vibhutihi. Vibhuti, Visheshena Bhavati. Where the manifestation of the Supreme Brahman is there in a very excellent way, in a very magnificent way, in a very pronounced manner. So this Brahman is manifesting, even all of us are manifestations of Brahman only. You and I, starting from an ant to elephant, everything is a manifestation of Brahman only, isn't it? So in which case, what is the speciality of this thing, of this, some of these manifestations which are going to be discussed in this chapter? The speciality is that this, in these particular say upadhis, in these particular upadhis, there is a special, exclusive, magnificent, brilliant manifestation of the same Supreme Brahman. So that is the difference between our upadhi and that upadhi. Of course, I and Ishvara we equate when it comes to Chaitanya. But then this is Karyopadhi and that is Karanopadhi. This is a small, say an infinitesimal and then a sort of minute, fragmentary sort of manifestation, and that is a very brilliant manifestation. So there is a difference between this fragmentary manifestation and a brilliant manifestation. So like that, the difference is like that. So Vibhuti means the manifestation. Manifestation in a very, very exclusive form. And then some of these things were told starting from 7th Adhyaya. 7th Adhyaya also, in fact, Shankaracharya in this Avatarika is not very big, it is just very, very brief, 1 or 2 lines only. Shankaracharya is pointing out that this Bhagavataha Tattvam and also Vibhuti were pointed out in the 7th chapter. Bhagavataha Tattva means the nature. Tattvam is the nature, the true nature. Vibhuti is manifestation. True nature is something and manifestation is something. That is, appearance is something and reality is something. So this appearance and reality. So this appearance, different types of appearances. So they were also told in the 7th Adhyaya. So 7th Adhyaya, in fact, there was some shloka talking about Rasoham Apsu Kaunteya, Prabhasmi Shashi Suryayoho. Such shlokas were there in the 7th chapter. Then again, there was a description of this para prakriti and apara prakriti, the superior, say, manifestation, and also the lower manifestation. That lower manifestation is in the nature of all this, say, prakriti, isn't it? So that is what we saw. 8th chapter also there was some reference. Adhiyajnaha ahamevasmi, ahamevatra. Adhiyajnaha. So in the form of that Adhiyajna is myself. So 8th chapter also there was something. 9th chapter there was a more detailed expression in 4-5 shlokas. Aham kratuhu, aham yajnaha, etc., etc. I am the yajna, I am kratu and all those things. There were some indications there about various vibhutis of the Supreme Brahman. in all the 7th, 8th and 9th, though in a very, very brief way. So, but in this chapter, there is a more detailed or elaborate discussion of all these vibhutis, not all, many of the vibhutis, because at the end of this chapter we will see that this is not a complete list, this is not a complete inventory of all the vibhutis, it is just for a sample. That is what he says. Pradhanyataha. Pradhanyataha means just by some of the important attributes, some of the important manifestations are mentioned here. It is not an exclusive, it is not a complete list or a comprehensive list of my vibhutis. So that is what Lord Krishna says. So this is what we see in this particular chapter. Vibhutis, say Agnihi, Apaha, Analaha and all those things, Bhumirapo, Nalo, Vayuhu, Kammano, Buddhirevacha, Ahankara, all these are manifestations, isn't it? So all such manifestations there was already some indication in the 7th, 8th and 9th chapters. Here we are going to see some more details. Then why are all these vibhutis told? That is another question. So in the 9th chapter we were told about the tattvam, the real tattvam of the Supreme Brahman. And then we were told about the jnani who will be reaching that particular level. But all people cannot be jnanis. And there is in our Vedic tradition, for all those who cannot be jnanis and still who are in the good path, who are jignasus, there are some other smaller, there are some other options. So you have to catch hold of some sort of some other saguna form. We know that there is what is called a saguna, nirguna and also saguna. This nirguna, nirupadhika Brahma is something which is told. That is the Supreme Brahman without any attributes. That is what has been told in the 9th chapter. So here we are going back to what was told in this 8th chapter by way of Saguna Upasana. Saguna Upasana, there we also had a discussion about what that Upasana was and all that. Upasana is for what? Upasana, the very meaning of Upasana is Nikrushte Utkrishta Buddhihi. You take a small thing and then you visualize a big thing. And that small thing, of course, it should not be a whimsical selection. I can't just take this pen and then I can't say, oh, yes, I visualize Brahman here. It's not like that. So this has to have some sort of connection. This has to have some element of brilliance in that, some element of vibhuti in that, some element of magnificence in that. Unless it is there, I cannot compare it or I can't visualize Brahman in that. Suppose I take something like Akasha, Vayu, Agni. These are certain universal phenomena. These are certain things which have some connection at least with the Supreme, isn't it? This pen has, when I myself am an infinitesimal say manifestation. What about this pen? This is my own creation. It is much more infinitesimal, isn't it? So I can't say that I will visualize Brahman. It cannot be say erratic and it cannot be whimsical. There should be some logical connection in the say chosen object chosen for upasana. So objects chosen for upasana, again in Upanishads we come across so many upasanas, particularly Chandogya Upanishad is full of so many upasanas. So all these upasanas, they are not done in a whimsical way. There is some sort of connection between the object chosen and the universal reality. You should be able to connect them. Suppose you take Akasha. Akasha is the first manifestation from that Atman. Akasha, Dvayuhu, Vayu, Ragnihi. These are certain universal things. Or there are certain cosmic functions. Cosmic functions like, say, Indra, Varuna. So the Yama. These are the cosmic functions, isn't it? Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra. These are certain cosmic functions. So these are the things. All these deities or say God forms. Or Hiranyagarbha itself, Hiranyagarbha is a Jiva Upadhi, whereas Ishvara Upadhi is different and Jiva Upadhi, if we want to distinguish within that Chaitanya, within that Maya Vachina Chaitanya, suppose you want to make a distinction between a Jiva Upadhi and an Ishvara Upadhi, and then you say that Hiranyagarbha is a Jiva Upadhi and Ishvara, that is Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, they are the Ishvara Upadhi. Even then, all these things, they become fit for Upasana. Somebody does some Saraswati Upasaka. Somebody says, I am so and so Hanumad Upasaka. So all these people, they choose some God form, something which is closer to the Supreme Reality. We have to choose something which is closer, which can be in some way connected with that Supreme Reality, which is a very brilliant, great manifestation of the Supreme Reality. So that is what we have to see in that. It cannot be a sort of whimsical thing. And this upasana is something which is actually recommended, if not only permitted, it is also recommended by the Upanishads and also in the whole entire structure of the Vedas. We know that in the entire structure of Vedas, there are three levels. One is the pure karma level to upasana level. In the pure karma level also, you are worshipping some deity. But then there is a sort of give and take. I am offering you this, you please offer me something. So this is a sort of business-like transaction. Whereas, if the same person grows to a slightly higher level, to that upasana level, and in that upasana level, he tries to understand the nature of that reality. There is no question of asking there. In that upasana, he wants to attain that status. For example, it can be a pratikopasana, it can be a ahamgrahopasana. In pratikopasana, every day we do this panchayatana puja. Panchayatana puja is you put some Aditya, Ambika, Vishnu, Gananatha, Ishvara, etc., etc., and then you do pratikopasana. Pratikopasana, of course, any number of deities can be there depending on your tradition. Then ahamgrahopasana is where you identify yourself with that God form or some selected form. Suppose somebody is doing ahamgrahopasana of Hanuman or Lord Narasimha or something else or something Saraswati. There are some Saraswati upasakas. So like that. So there it is a question of only one. You can't do ahamgrahopasana for too many deities because it is something like a husband and wife where you have to do upasana of one deity only. Whereas in ordinary pratikopasana or devatarchana which you do, you can worship any number of god forms. So that is how the tradition is. That is, this ahamgrahopasana also, that is, you attain that God form or you attain that or understand that God's nature, and through the benevolence or help of that particular form, you attain the supreme reality. So that has been the recommended structure. So because all this is because upasakanam siddhyartham brahmano rupa kalpana, isn't it? In that 8th chapter also we discussed as to why all these upasanas are prescribed. Though this nirguna brahma is there, that nirguna brahma is something which is which cannot be comprehended, which is not cognizable, which is chinmayasya, advitiyasya, nishkalasya, asharirinaha. These are all the attributes of that Shuddha Brahma. Chinmaya, it is of the nature of pure consciousness. Advitiya, it is a non-dual thing. Advitiyasya, nishkalasya, kala means parts, no divisions. Asharirinaha, there is no form to that. So this is a pure Shuddha Chaitanya form. Then how is this upasaka going to attain? So, upasakanam siddhyartham brahmano rupa kalpana. This is a shloka from, mantra from one Upanishad called Ramatapaniya Upanishad. I had quoted this mantra also. We had discussed this in our 8th chapter of Gita. So, like that, this upasakas, they do select some God form, and that selection of God form is not whimsical. So, that is what we have to remember. And this Savishesha, we should not take it as though we are doing some idolatry or something like that. Savishesha means that is God with attributes. God with attributes is taken as a sort of stepping stone or a sort of crutch. Stepping stone is a bad word because you are stepping on that. Here you are not stepping on that, you are doing some upasana and attaining. It is a sort of crutch or a preliminary stage for attaining the Supreme Brahman. So Savishesha Brahman does not mean any sort of we are permitting idolatry or something like that, because nowadays it is very, very easy to misinterpret or mistake. So idolatry is, Savishesha Brahma is the only thing which is there in the Western religions too. That is what we have to understand. The Western religions, they may say that their God does not have a form, your God has a form. So this is nonsense, because their God does not have a form, their God has functions. We are talking about functions, not about form. Whether form is there or not, the man has he is so vindictive, he is so vengeful, he punishes people who are not his devotees. So that is the type of God they have visualized, because God is something which we make, isn't it? God is something which we visualize depending on our own nature. If our nature is good, we don't visualize a vindictive God. If our nature is vindictive, you want to vanquish or kill all other people, then you visualize a God which is vindictive in nature. So like that, all the Western religions, they do have the Savishesha Brahma or Saguna Brahma or Brahman with attributes. It is only the Upanishads. It is the uniqueness of the Upanishads, the uniqueness that the Upanishads go beyond this religion, though they go beyond this Saguna Brahma level. They ask you to go beyond this religion, and then they say you attain that supreme. This religion is only a sort of religion or Saguna Brahma or this Upasana. All these words are synonymous, isn't it? Religion, Saguna Brahma, Upasana, all these things is only a sort of preparatory, is basically a helping, is a sort of say a crutch, a support structure in order to go to the higher level. So that is what say our system says. And then once you reach that system, even the books become irrelevant, the Veda becomes irrelevant, yatra Veda, Aveda bhavanti. So all these things we have discussed even earlier. So this is the general say structure of this not structure, general background to this thing. If we see the structure of this say chapter, there are 42 verses in this chapter, 42 verses, and mostly told by Lord Krishna. Then the first 11 verses, they give, these are Krishna's words about his own tattva. His own tattva means that is his own true nature, how he is manifesting in the universe in different forms. And then you can meditate on so many forms, not so many forms, in whatever form you like. And then ultimately what is it that you are going to get? The say the first things, the first slokas, they tell about all these vibhutis, and then he says, if you do that, I am going to give you dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. So when you do upasana on any of these forms, what is it that you are going to attain? The Lord is going to give you buddhi. He is going to give you intellect. He is not going to give you wealth. He is not going to give you any other say material prosperity. He is only giving you proper mindset. He is only giving you proper understanding of the Supreme. So when you do upasana, the result of that upasana is buddhi. Buddhi means samyak jnana. Buddhi is say the ability to attain that samyak jnana. So that is that buddhi. So that is what we see in the first 1 to 11. Then 12th to 18th again, Arjuna is tempted to ask, say, okay, he says, okay, you are saying that you are manifesting yourself in so many forms. Tell me some of the important forms. In what manner can I worship? In what manner can I do upasana? Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu. That is what he says. Where is that? Bhuta bhavanaha keshu keshu cha bhaveshu. Yeah, keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi. Yeah, this is 17th sloka which talks about keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavanmaya. In what forms, in what manner can I visualize you? In what manner can I attain you? In what manner can I do upasana and attain the supreme reality? So that is what he says. So this 12th to 18th is about the Arjuna, about questions by Arjuna. Then from 19th almost till the end, from 19th till about 38th, different vibhutis, different manifestations are told. And in these manifestations, there are different things, various things. So there are certain, say, gods, there are certain munis, there are certain human beings, there are certain concepts, like there are certain texts like Vedanam, Samavedosmi, then Veda. Then there are certain other things like Manaha. There are certain other things like Bhutanam, Asmi Chetana, that is the consciousness, various other things. So not only manifestation of one type, manifestations of different types. There are birds, animals, all types of things are there. There is a bird, there is an animal, there is a human being, there are many human beings, there are sages, there are gods, there are also demigods like say all these yakshas, gandharvas, etc. And then there are also demons. Among the demons this Prahlada and people like that, good people are there. There are some good demons also are there. So like that, all these are the manifestations of the Supreme Brahman only, where say that manifestation is in a very pronounced, brilliant form. So that is what we see in all these 19th to 28th. So all these are various rupas In order to reach the Swarupa, let us say. All these Rupas you discard and then reach the Swarupa at the final stage. Then here, of course, while say understanding these things, we should have a proper understanding of the Upasana Kanda of the Veda also, because all these things. So this particular chapter refers to so many names which are there in various Puranas, so many names which are there in the earlier portion of the Vedas. In Vedas, there are so many Vedic rishis, and then there are so many Vedic deities. There are so many other things which are respected in the Vedas. So all those things we should know. That is very, 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 very difficult. So I will go through as many commentaries as possible, and I will try to get as much say out of it, because Shankaracharya, probably at that time it was such a common knowledge. Suppose he says, he mentions the name of Narada. So at that time everybody had full knowledge of Narada because at that time Mahabharata, Ramayana, etc., Bhagavatam, all those things were compulsorily read by all people. So the whole history of Narada, his entire say significance of Narada is known. Or he mentions, say, suppose later he mentions something like some Rukshanam Ashwatha Ruksha, Ashwatha, we know. That Ashwatha Ruksha, the significance of Ashwatha Vrusha is how to do that Upasana. So people knew earlier. There is some tradition. Mulato Brahmarupaya, Madhyato Vishnurupine, Agrata Shivarupaya, Vruksharajaye Te Namaha. So that is, the root is worshipped as Brahma, Madhyato Vishnurupine, the trunk, the portion is worshipped as Vishnu, and the top portion is worshipped as Rudra. Agrato Agrata Shivarupaya, Shiva. So Vruksharajaye Te Namaha. So that is the tradition. So unless you know various other small things from the tradition, number one, from the tradition, from Puranas, from the earlier parts of the Veda, it will be very difficult to understand the whole import. And also something like in all Shabdas I am the Omkara. Omkara, we know. Omkara, we had a very detailed discussion. It is such a brilliant symbol which has been developed by our ancients, putting so many things together, putting so many things about the Shabda Prapancha, Vastu Prapancha, and also the three stages, that is Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. All these things are say merged into that Omkara. So it is such a brilliant symbol. So like that, this symbol or the object which is mentioned here should be such that it is fit enough for, it is suitable or fit enough for contemplation, for Upasana. So that is again what we see. Then this entire thing is a manifestation. So from here we can go to say this the text. In fact, if we see the Vishnu Sahasranama also, the very word, the very first line of Vishnu Sahasranama, how does it read? Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu, isn't it? That Vishwam and Vishnu, for those two things Shankaracharya has written a very big commentary on that. So this Vishwam is manifestation. Vishwam is what is called the Vibhuti. Vishnu is the Tattvam. Vishwam is the Vibhuti and Vishnu is the Yoga. Yoga means the Tattvam. So that is how we have to understand this Vibhuti and Yoga also. It has a special significance apart from other yogas, other chapters. Here, Mama Vibhutim cha Yogam cha, Lord Krishna also is going to say, he is also going to distinguish between what is Vibhuti and what is Yoga. So this Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaraha, this Vishwam, manifestation in so many forms in the universe. So that is the Vibhuti. Vishnu Vyapana Shilatvam, that is the Tattvam, that is the true nature of the divinity. So that is the Yoga. That is the Yoga, or that say the power of the Supreme Being to manifest in so many forms. So that is what we can see. Then shall we start this thing?
Yes.
The Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bhuya Eva Mahabaho Shrunu me Paramam Vachaha Yatteham Priyamanaya Vakshyami Hitakamyaya. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, here Lord Krishna is saying, Bhuya Eva, He Mahabaho, O mighty armed man, your mighty arms are not there to just sit and idle. you are supposed to do some fight, do your job. So it was some implication like that. Bhuya eva me paramam vachaha shrunu. Bhuya eva means again. Bhuya means again. Again, hey mama, me paramam vachaha, my supreme counsel, my paramam vachaha, my supreme words. Words means here advice, my supreme counsel, my supreme advice, my real advice to you. You please listen to me. Shrunu means you listen. Yat teham priyamanaya vakshyami hitakamyaya. Aham te priyamanaya. And I am going to tell you. And how is your predicament, how is your situation? Priyamanaya. Priyamana is one who is happy to do a thing. That is Priyamanaya, one who is really happy, delighted to listen. It is not as though Arjuna is getting bored to listen. Arjuna is at least putting on a very, very smiling face, or maybe he is having such a receptive, Krishna is able to see a lot of receptivity in the mind, in the face of Arjuna. So that is why he says, and also like a good teacher, he now and then compliments. You are such a nice man, you are such a nice boy, you are listening so well. So like that, yatteham priyamanaya, that is complimenting his shishya, that he is having such a pleasant countenance, and then he is putting on a very smiling face, and then listening to all that. Priyamanaya, that is you are really liking it. What I am saying, you are liking it. And I am going to tell you, vakshyami means I will tell you. Hitakamyaya, in your own interest, in your own hita. Hitam is the other man's interest. That is what is called hitam. So hitam, in our system, we know that we are not supposed to advise people unless asked for, isn't it? Unless asked for, satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, na bruyat, satyam apriyam, isn't it? You are supposed to tell truth, but you are supposed to keep silent when the other man is going to be offended, or whether other man is going to pounce on you. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. If it is something good about him, you tell. If there is something bad, you just keep quiet. So that is the normal tradition. But then there is also a tradition, aprushtopi priyam bruyat, yasya nechet parajayam. Suppose I like you, you are my good friend, and then whatever you think, I want to tell you. Whatever you think, whether you like it or not, I want to tell you. So aprushtopi priyam bruyat, aprushtaha api, even without asking, without being asked, priyam bruyat, you have to tell him that hitam bruyat, not priyam, hitam bruyat, yasya na ichet parajayam. If I really don't want you to get defeated outside, yasya na ichet parajayam. If I don't want to see you getting defeated outside, so I have to jolly well tell you whether you like it or not, whether you ask or not. So maybe something like that. Vakshyami hitakamyaya. So that is what Lord Krishna is saying. This shloka is very simple. Let us read the Bhashyam. Saptamadhyaye Bhagavataha Tattvam Vibhutayascha Prakashitaha Navamecha Atha idanim Yeshu Bhaveshu Chintyaha Bhagavan Te Bhavaha Vaktavya Tattvam cha Bhagavataha Vaktavyam Uktamapi Durvigneyatvad Ityataha Bhagavan Uvacha. So there is a very small avatarika, that is Saptamadhyaye Bhagavataha Tattvam Vibhutayascha. In the 7th chapter, Bhagavataha Tattvam, the nature of the divinity. What is that divinity? In two forms, that is the Sopadhika Tattvam and also the Nirupadhika Tattvam. These two things were told in that thing. And also Vibhutayascha, even the manifestations were told. They were indicated to some extent. Prakashitacha. Prakashita means slightly, light was thrown, not light was thrown, it's such a bad kindness. The text threw light on those things also. That's in the Navamadhyaya or in this Saptamadhyaya, threw light on the Vibhuti also. Prakashita. Prakashita means illumined, isn't it? So that is why I use the word through light. So the chapter threw light on the Vibhuti also. Then Navamecha. even in the 9th chapter. Atha idanim means in this now, yeshu yeshu bhaveshu chintyaha, in what all forms, in what all forms, in what all images, in what all concepts, say the Bhagavan can be meditated upon. So those things have to be told. Te bhavaha vaktavyaha, all those bhava means bhava, bhudhatu. Bhava not only means padar, it can mean a padartha, it can be a thing, it can be a human being. All these appearances are bhavas only. And also concepts, te bhavaha vaktavyaha, tattvam cha bhagavataha vaktavyam. And also the nature, the true nature of God has to be told. Though it has already been told, uktamapi, though it has been told, why? Durvigneyatvat, because the Atmanas Tattvam is so durvigneyam, it is very difficult to know. Ityataha Bhagavan uvacha. Then bhuyaha iti. Bhuya eva. Bhuyaha punaha. He mahabaho. Shrunu me madiyam. Paramam prakrushtam. Niratishaya vastunaha prakashakam. Vacho vakyam. So this what is the subject here? Paramam, subject is Niratishaya vastu. That is something beyond which there is nothing. Niratishaya, Satishaya, Niratishaya, we know. Satishaya means that which is having a parallel. Sa plus Atishaya. Niratishaya, Nis plus Atishaya, Niratishaya. Where there is no parallel, where there is no comparison. Nothing is going to excel it. Nothing is going to excel or go beyond that. That is what is Niratishaya. This Vastu is Niratishaya Vastu, the Supreme Brahman. So Niratishaya Vastunaha Prakashakam. Prakashakam means that which will illustrate. That which will illustrate this Niratishaya Vastu. So that type of thing I am going to tell you. Then Yat Paramam Te Tubhyam Priyamanaya Mad Vachanat Priyase Tvamativa Amrutamiva Piban Tato Vakshyami Hitakamyaya Hitechaya. So you are, how are you? Priyamanaya Madvachanat Priyase. By my words you are feeling happy. Madvachanat Priyase. Because of my words you are feeling happy. Priyase. That is the Madhyama Purusha. You are really happy by listening to me. So, Amrutamiva Piban, as though you are swallowing nectar, as though you are drinking nectar. So, like that, you are listening to my words. So, Ataha, therefore, Vakshyami Hitakamyaya, in your own interest, in your own hita, in the interest of your welfare, I am going to tell you. Kimarthamaham Vakshyami Ityataha. So, why should I tell you? Why should I only tell you? Because you may as well feel, okay, I will go to a guru and then I will know. So it's not like that. Only I have to tell it. So because all the while, Krishna and Arjuna, the relationship, if we see, Arjuna has been treating Krishna like a friend only. We will see that at the end of this 18th chapter also, Arjuna really cries. I have in the 11th chapter also, 11th chapter, I have all the while been, joking with you, I have all the while been very playful with you, I have been using all words about you without knowing your real nature. So that is the status of Arjuna here. So even if Krishna tells, right now of course Krishna is finding that Arjuna is quite receptive and Arjuna is willing to, trust him. So but suppose you have got a friend whose real nature you do not know. Suppose God himself comes in the form of a friend and then tries to tell you something. And you have been playing, some chess with him, or you have been playing cricket with him all through, and then suddenly this fellow says he is a God and then everything has originated from him. How will you trust? So the Arjuna's predicament is somewhat like that. So though he has seen some miracles, though he has seen some sort of special things about Krishna, he is not able to accept that supreme level. So that is why he is questioning also. What is it? You please show me something more, show me something more. So after this chapter again, he again asks, okay, now I am convinced, you please show me your Vishwarupa. That is what we see in the 11th chapter. So anyway, so kimartham vakshyami, kimartham aham vakshyami ityataha name vidussuraganaha. Okay, let us read the shloka. Name vidussuraganaha prabhavam na maharshayah ahamadirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Okay, na me viduhu suraganaha prabhavam. Me prabhavam suraganaha na viduhu. So you have to connect like that. Me prabhavam. My prabhavam means prabhavam. My say prabhava is really speaking my competence, efficiency, etc., etc. My real say my greatness or my say supreme power. So all that is prabhava. So my prabhava, and also prabhava has another meaning also. Prabhava means origin. My origin. It has both the meanings are being given by Shankaracharya. Prabhava, one meaning is prabhava. Prabhava is greatness. Then prabhava, the other meaning is origin. So my prabhavam suraganaha na viduhu, maharshayah na viduhu. Suraganaha, all these gods. Sura means god, gana means groups, various so many gods. Suraganaha, all these gods. Why? Because all these gods are some small manifestations only. Small vibhutis only. Indra is a particular vibhuti in charge of some small function. Varuna is a small vibhuti in charge of a small function. Some other man is another vibhuti. Vayu is a small vibhuti for a small function, isn't it? Yama is another vibhuti for say something like jurisprudence, let us say civil and criminal jurisprudence. So like that, and Yama among the gods, he is supposed to be the only man who knows Brahma Vidya. All other people, Indra, Vayu, etc., they are not Brahmavits. Yama is somebody who is a Brahmavetta. Unfortunately, we are ridiculing him in the films. Yama is supposed to be the only Brahmavetta. Anyway, Prabhavam, na maharshayah, all these rishis also. And rishi, in fact, one commentator has given a very beautiful say reference. Rishi means Rushagatau. The meaning of rishi is Rushagatau. And we know that Gatyarthakas are Jnanarthakaha. Whatever that various the Sanskrit roots which talk about Gati, they talk about Jnana also. Gati means Jnanam also. So Rushagatau also means Jnana. Then what are the instruments of cognition in the human body? The instruments of cognition are the senses. And we have come across earlier Sapta Shirshanyani. All these Sapta Shirshanyani, they are the instruments of cognition, isn't it? That is nostrils, ears, and then mouth, 2 eyes. So these 6 altogether, not 6, 7, including the mouth, 7. These are the organs, isn't it? So these organs, these are the sources for perception. These are the sources for perception, and these are the things which give knowledge, the information to the mind. And then these 6 things which are sources of knowledge, they are compared to rishis. They are compared to rishis in Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad, there is a upasana about these rishis also. And Saptarshi Upasana. This Saptarshi Upasana is referring to this the 7 say Saptashirshanyani, 7 doors, 7 dwarani. So these 7 dwarani, so this is Agastya, this is something else, this is Kashyapa, this is some other Bharadwaja, this is something else. So this type of upasana is there. It looks rather funny unless we go deep into that, and then unless we know the real nature of that upasana, it may look funny to us, but that is how that is one type of upasana we see. So Maharshayah, these Maharshis, they don't know me. Here it can also refer to this the instruments of cognition. Maharshi actually means the instrument of cognition. All our senses, they do not know. All the senses do not know, the mind does not know. So that is the meaning. Then Aham Adirhi Devanam Maharshinam cha Sarvashaha. Because Aham Adihi He means Yasmat, because I am the beginning. I am the Adi. Adi means the origin. I am the Upadana Karana, and also I am the Nimitta Karana. We know the Upadana Karana and Nimitta Karana, that is the material cause and the instrumental cause. I am that for all the things, for all the Devas, for all the Maharshis. Devanam, Deva is Divi. Divi is brightness. Divi is brightness or brilliance or intelligence. All these things are all these intelligence things, and also for all these Maharshis. For all the things, I am the say origin. I am the source. Then Name iti. Name viduhu.
न मे विदुः
न जानन्ति सुरगणाः ब्रह्मादयः
न जानन्ति सुरगणाः ब्रह्मादयः
किं तेन विदुः
किं तेन विदुः
मम प्रभवं प्रभावं
मम प्रभवं प्रभावं
प्रभुशक्त्यतिशयम्
प्रभुशक्त्यतिशयम्
अथवा प्रभवं प्रभवनम्
अथवा प्रभवं प्रभवनम्
उत्पत्तिम्.
उत्पत्तिम्.
So he is giving both the meanings. न मे विदुः जानन्ति. Viduhu means na jananti. Na me viduhu. Viduhu means te na jananti. They do not know. That is the meaning. Suraganaha Brahmadaya. All these Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, etc. etc. These are all again manifestations. Brahma, Vishnu. Vishnu again, we are not. Vishnu Shabda, all these words, they are used at two levels. They are used to the Upadhi. And sometimes they are used in the etymological sense. When it is used in an etymological sense, for that etymological sense, Vyapnoti iti Vishnu. Brahma, if it is used in an etymological sense, you are going to that Supreme Brahman. Rudra also, Rudra. Rujam Dravayati iti Rudraha. Rujam Dravayati. One who drives away your misery. One who drives away. And also gives you happiness. He is called Rudra. Rujam Dravayati. For the name Rudra, there are several derivations. At least half a dozen derivations are there. If you see Rudra Dhyaya, there are at least half a dozen etymological derivations for that word. So, one important thing is Rujam Dravayati, iti Rudraha. So, like that, these things, they are used at a Upadhi level here. All these Suraganaha, Maharshi, etc. When you are referring to them, we are not referring in the sense of the supreme reality. You are referring to them as at the level of Upadhi. So, Name Jananti Suraganaha Brahmadaya. Kim Tena Viduhu means what exactly do they know? Do they not know? They do not know Mama Prabhavam Prabhavam. Prabhavam is, one meaning is Prabhavam. Prabhu Shakti Atishayam. Prabhu means Lord. The Lord, Prabhu Shakti, the capacity to lord over everything, the supremacy, Atishayam, that is the greatness of it, the unparalleled nature of my being. So, all these things they do not know. Athava, or else, Prabhavam Prabhavanam Utpattim, or else, the my Utpatti. Why this second? Why we should not take this meaning? Because chit or consciousness is something which has no utpatti. Consciousness is always there. It is beyond time. When you talk about utpatti, you are referring to some timeline. When you say that something is born or originated, you are putting it in some timeline. This Brahman is something, the consciousness is something which is beyond the timeline. Because if you say something is born, there should be somebody to cognize it. And that something to cognize it is that intelligence. So that is why, so you cannot talk about the utpatti of the intelligence. The intelligence has always been there. So that is why Shankaracharya also is giving it in a secondary manner. The primary thing is Prabhavam Prabhavam. Then, Napi Maharshayah Bhrugvadayo Viduhu. This, okay. So, Napi Maharshayah, all these Maharshis, Bhrugu, etc., etc., these are this Bhrugvadayaha. If you see that Chandogya Upanishad, I will just check that book and I will check it and then tell you in the next class about this Maharshi, Saptarshi Dhyanam also. So, Bhrugu refers to one particular sense organ, or it can also refer to that some sage Bhrugu. There is a big story about that Bhrugu. I will also just check it up and then get back about that story. Maharshinam Bhruguraham, some such line also is there, because he is going to say, Lord is going to say that Maharshinam Bhruguraham, I am among the rishis, I am Bhrugu. So like that. Then Kasmat te naviduhu ityuchyate aham adihi karanam hi yasmat devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah sarvaprakaraihi. Okay, why do they not know me? Because I am the Karanam. He yasmat, because I am the Karanam for all these devas, for all these Maharshis, Sarvashah, Sarva Prakaraihi. In all ways, in all matter, in all, in whatever manner you see, I am the Karana. This is not something which is a boastful proclamation by Lord Krishna. It is not something, a sort of self-dramatizing or boasting type of statement. He is just telling about the real nature of the tattvam of Bhagavan. That's all. We should not take it as some sort of say some dramatic statement by Krishna. So, okay, Kincha. Let us read the shloka. Yo mam ajam anadim cha
यो माम् अजमनादिं च
vetti lokamaheshwaram
वेत्ति लोकमहेश्वरम्
asammudhassa sarveshu
असम्मूढस्य सर्वेषु
sarvapapaih pramuchyate.
सर्वपापैः प्रमुच्यते.
Okay. So, Kincha yo mam iti. So, here yaha mam ajam anadim cha. Mam, in what manner he has to understand? Yaha, the one who, mam, me, ajam anadim cha. Aja means one who has no birth. Aja, one who is unborn, one who has no birth. That's what we just discussed. That is consciousness which has to be there prior to anything. Because it is the consciousness or intelligence which has to cognize the presence of any other thing. So the consciousness has to pre-exist every other thing. So that is why it is ajam anadi, that is beginningless. Then cha vetti loka maheshwaram, that is for all the so-called lokas, I am the Ishvara. Because all these lokas, they are all appearances in that Ishvara. Loka maheshwaram. Then asammudhaha, yo mam asammudhaha janati. Asammudhaha means without any confusion. Sammoha is confusion, delusion. Sammoha is the delusion. Sammudha is one who is deluded. Asammudha is one who is not deluded, one who has got a clear understanding, one who has right understanding. That is asammudha. Asammudha samartyeshu, among all the people, he is the asammudha. Such a person is sarva papaih pramuchyate. From all these things he will be, from all these papaih pramuchyate means, that is, he will get liberated in the sense that he will not again be born, he will not again be caught in this cycle of samsara. So that is the meaning. So, yo mam ajam anadim cha
यो माम् अजमनादिं च
yasmadaham
यस्मादहम्
adihi devanam maharshinaam cha
आदिः देवानां महर्षीणां च
na mama anya adihi vidyate
न मम अन्य आदि विद्यते
ataha aham ajaha
अतः अहम् अजः
anadischa
अनादिश्च
anaditvam ajatve hetuhu
अनादित्वम् अजत्वे हेतुः
tam mam ajam anadim cha
तं माम् अजम् अनादिं च
yo vetti vijanati
यो वेत्ति विजानाति
lokamaheshwaram
लोकमहेश्वरं
lokanam mahantam ishwaram
लोकानां महान्तम् ईश्वरं
turiyam ajnana tatkarya varjitam
तुरीयम् अज्ञानतत्कार्यवर्जितम्
asammudhaha sammoha varjitaha
असम्मूढः सम्मोहवर्जितः
samartyeshu manushyeshu
समत्येषु मनुष्येषु
sarvapapaihi
सर्वपापैः
sarvaihi papaihi
सर्वैः पापैः
matipurvaka amatipurvakrutaihi
मतिपूर्वकृतैः
amatipurvakrutaihi
मतिपूर्वकृतैः
pramuchyate pramokshiyate.
प्रमुच्यते
Okay, so this is again a fairly simple bhashyam. Yaha mam ajam anadim cha, the one who has no or ajam, not born, that is which pre-exists everything, consciousness which pre-exists everything, and also anadi, which is originless. Then yasmadaham adihi devanam maharshinam cha, I am the origin, I am the source for all the devas and also the maharshis. Na mama anyaha adihi vidyate, there is no other adi, there is no other origin for me. Then ataha, therefore, aham ajaha anadisya, I am that aja and I am that anadisya. Then anaditvam ajatve hetuhu, this anaditvam is the cause for that ajatva, that is again ajatva hetuhu. Tam mam ajam anadim yo vetti, such being, whoever knows, loka maheshwaram, lokanam mahantam ishwaram, for all these lokas I am the Ishvara, and one who knows like that. And what is that thing? Turiyam ajnana tatkarya varjitam. This turiyam means, we know this Jagrat, Swapnas, say Sushupti, they are the three avasthas. And then beyond that avastha is that turiyam. Jagrat, Swapna, Avastha, they are the three stages in which This jnanam is very much there. Jagrata avastha jnanam is there, swapna avastha jnanam is there, sushupti avastha also the jnanam is there. And then this turiya is not the fourth one. Turiyam is the one. In turiya only for namesake it is the fourth. But turiyam is the actual, the jnanam in which all the three states are merged. So in that, what is that Mandukya Upanishad, you say as though you take 1 rupee. In that 1 rupee, in olden days, we used to have 4, say, quarters. So 1 quarter merges into the other. If suppose you say half rupee, the 1 quarter merges into that. 3/4 rupee, 2 quarters merge into that. The 3 quarters, they merge into that 1 rupee. So like that, turiyam is not something different. Turiyam is something which is one and the same consciousness, prajnana ghana. Turiyam is again, no, in the prajna is called prajnana ghana. That turiyam is Shuddha Chaitanya, in which all these things, they automatically merge. So that is that state. Turiyam, ajnana tatkarya varjitam. So this is, I think I will explain it in the next class, because it will take some little bit of explanation. Ajnana tatkarya varjitam, asammodhaha sammoha varjitasan. Then asammodhaha, one who is not deluded, without any sort of misunderstanding, one without any type of wrong understanding. Saha martyeshu manushyeshu sarva papaihi. Sarva papaihi. Whenever there is a reference to papa, we should also include punya. That is what is a general rule, isn't it? Sarva papa. Suppose you are rid of all the papams and you have got a big baggage of punyam. So what will happen? Naturally you are forced to take some other birth only. So sarva papaihi pramuchyate means you all the papa and punya, all the things will disappear, and then you the matipurvaka of course matipurva krutaihi pramuchyate pramokshyate. So that is it. I think we'll continue in the next class. There is some time, but then we'll continue in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.